Hi again. So today we're going to learn about Pearson R. Pearson R also means correlation, and it has a range of -1 to 1. So if it's -1, it has a negative correlation, and if it's 1, then it has a positive correlation. So remember from the little diagram we drew before, if you have the value of 0, then there's no relationship, and then moves towards the other side, away from 0, then we have a stronger relationship. Same with the opposite side. If you move away from 0, you have a strong relationship. So here's a diagram I got off from your PowerPoint. So if it has a positive or negative 0 to 0.19 range, it has a no or very weak correlation. So no will be the 0 part, and then to 0.9 it will be a very weak correlation. If it has a positive or negative 0.20 to 0.39, then it has a weak correlation. If it's positive or negative 0.40 to 0.59, it has a moderate correlation. If it has a positive or negative 0.6 to 0.79, it has a strong correlation. And if it has a positive or negative 0.80 to 0.99, it has a very strong correlation. And now remember, I don't know if you have to remember these numbers or not, but you can remember it from this way. As you go down, it kind of increases by a value of 0.2. So you have like 0, and then you have 0.2, and then you add another 0.2, you have a 0.4, add another 0.2, 0.6, and then 0.8. Now remember from the diagram we drew, 0, no relationship. As you move away, it gets stronger and stronger, okay? If it's close to 0, you have a weak relationship. Alright, let's move to calculations. Are you excited? Yay! So the calculation is pretty long in this topic. So here's the formula, the top part. Now you're wondering, what the hell is this, right? Here, copy down this formula and I'll break it down step by step with you. Pause it if you need more time to copy it. So let's take a look at the top part of the equation. The top part is this. What does this mean? Let's break it down. This little E symbol, it means the sum of. And then X is the X variable that we had before. And then the X with a little dash on top, it means the mean of X. This Y was the Y variable we talked about before, and the Y with the little dash on top, it's the mean of Y. So the top part of the equation is the sum of X minus the mean of X times Y minus the mean of Y. Now it might sound complicated now, but once you start inputting numbers in, it will be a lot easier. Now let's move on to the bottom part of the equation. This is the bottom part. Here's the little square root. I didn't input the square root over here because I didn't have enough space. So as we mentioned before, that E is the sum of. And then this part of the equation is very similar to the top, but the only difference is a little square it has here and here, and it has a square root over it. So the bottom part of the equation is the square root of the sum of X minus mean of X squared times the sum of Y minus the mean of Y squared. So that's the equation. And I know it sounds complicated now, but I'm going to start going over the example your professor went over today in class. So the first example your professor went over was this. You have the x variable of 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8, and a y variable of 3, 5, 6, 8, and 10. Take a moment to copy down this example. You can pause it if you want. So the first thing we want to do when you're presented with this kind of problem is to find the sum of the x variable and find the sum of the y variable. So the sum of the x variable is 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 is 25. And you want to find the mean of the x variable, which I will do now. So it will be 25 divided by 5, so the mean will equal to 5. Right here. Now you want to find the sum of the y variable. So it will be 3 plus 5 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10, and you get a total sum of 32 for the y variable. Now you want to divide 32 by 5 to find the mean, and you get 6.4. You should get something like this. The mean for x will be 5, and the mean for y is 6.4. Now remember the equation on the top part, we have to find x minus the mean of x. So it's actually quite simple for that part. Let's solve that first. Remember the values I gave you for x? Let's make another chart with that. Here it is again, the same values of x. And then on the other columns, we have x minus mean. So before, for the x, we found that the mean was 5. So now what we're going to do is the value 2 minus the mean. 2 minus 5 equals negative 3. And then you do 3 minus the mean, 5, equals to negative 2. 5 minus the mean is 0. 7 minus the mean is 2. And 8 minus the mean is 3. Now I gotta think a little. Okay, so remember, this part of the equation is y minus mean of y. Now we're going to do the same for the y-axis, or the y variable. Remember the chart we had in the beginning? Take a moment to copy down these numbers, and we're going to make a new chart. Alright, here it is, the new chart. Same numbers again for the y variable. So as we calculated before, the mean for y is 6.4. So we do 3 minus the mean, which is 6.4, equals to negative 3.6. And then we do 5 minus the mean equals negative 1.4. 6 minus the mean equals negative 0.4. 8 minus the mean equals 1.6. And then 10 minus the mean is 3.6. Now we're almost done with the top part of the equation. Okay? So we found this part, x minus mean of x. And we found this part, y minus mean of y. So now we have a little multiplication sign here. We will multiply them. So take a moment to copy down the values we found for x minus mean and y minus mean. Here is all the numbers we found for x minus mean, and here's all the numbers we found for y minus mean. So now we'll multiply them for the top part of the equation. So we have negative 3 times negative 3.4 equals 10.2. And now we will do negative 2 times negative 1.4 equals 2.8. 0 times negative 0.4 equals to 0. And then 2 times 1.6 equals to 3.2. And 3 times 3.6 equals to 10.8. Now remember, on the equation, it says we have to find a sum of. So we found the multiplication of x